You are now in tune to the Keys to the City podcast.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another edition of Keys to the City. I'm your host, Trevor Keys, alongside the big brother, Ted Keys T3. They just caught me drinking my water. You know, do you think it's weird, Ted, that I still do this like we used to do at home? Is it weird? Are we weird that we do that? I mean, some people would say we're out of our freaking minds, but you know what? You know what I say?
I already know I am.
I don't really give a crap because I like to stand out for some sort of reason. I don't know what that may be.
But I stand out for other reasons, but we won't.
I can stand out for a lot of reasons, but
we'll save that for another podcast.
You can check us out on all social media platforms at Keys to the City. Literally, as you see it at the bottom of the screen, Keys, TWO, the city. But like we were just saying, standing out. Well, let's be honest. This weekend really kind of stood out for many reasons. I mean, when you think about this time, Ted, this is a time. It's not a lot of football, not a lot of basketball. Still kind of in its, right around the corner from playoffs. Hockey's the same way. Baseball's right there. But then it's only really been about the tournament around this time. But that's changed drastically. I mean, you got the tournament, but you also got the WBC tonight, the final, Japan against the USA, and a much-anticipated matchup. Cannot wait for that game on FS1. And like the NFL has been continuously doing its thing and dominating the headlines with the reports, with the rumors, and with the breaking news, as always. But like I said, this weekend, this is all about March Madness. Well, I hope that people are doing better than Trev is, because Trev has no purpose in rooting for anybody in the March Madness world right now because his Duke Blue Devils are an early exit. But Ted, I don't know if you knew, we have 4 number 1 seeds that went down this weekend. What do you mean 4? People? Exactly. 2 in the men and 2 in the women. We had Kansas go down, the defending champs, and Purdue going down, and then Indiana and Stanford going down. So I have a little quick stat. The most 1 seeds to lose in the first 2 rounds in both the women and men's tourney since 1985. So when you look at how this tournament's been, the men, we're going to get into this, and then we'll branch off into a few little things with our predictions of the WBC. Purdue goes down. Fairleigh Dickinson, the 16 seed. We get to see it now twice. We've seen it in a handful of years, which is remarkable. But Ted, you look at this tournament, I know we don't really talk a lot of college basketball, but I literally sat my ass on the couch and watched both days, all 4 days, nonstop. What is your overall take and what you've been seeing from this tournament that makes you say, hey, this has been one of the better tournaments to me? I know it's a Gesundheit. I know it's different and shit, but like people are like, oh, well, the Blue Bloods. You know what? So what? I mean, whatever. It is what it is. But when you see this tournament, Ted, what really stands out to you so far?
Nothing. No, listen, for me, it's nothing that personally stands out. I enjoyed the whole weekend from Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's the best 4 days of like continuous sports. We talk a lot of football and baseball, of course, because the Giants and Yankees. I'm a UConn Husky fan. You're a Duke fan, but we don't get into much college basketball because there's so much to like talk about in other teams, and I think for most fans, college basketball really doesn't start till after January, when like the conference tournament play starts going on, and then of course, because football dominates and college football dominates kind of the sports world and narrative, and and then basketball by default kind of gets conversation because of LeBron and Kevin Durant, guys like that. They're superstars. What makes March Madness just so exciting is because you just don't know what is going to happen. Every game within every game. And like you said, you started a conversation. For the second time in history, we saw a 16 seed beat a number 1 seed. Great game. I mean, listen, great the whole weekend. Thursday night.
I mean, it started on Thursday. With Furman beating Virginia and sadly, it was a 5th-year senior, Keaton Clark, who was on that championship team, threw an errant pass that, well, you just don't do. And to see how the tournament really took off right from there. Then you got Princeton. I mean, we got Princeton in the Sweet 16, Ted. I got to ask you a question, though. Is it fair for me to – I'm asking you straight up because you're a UConn fan. Is it fair for me to root for UConn now that Duke is gone? Because you know how I am. I never really root for UConn throughout the season. But when the tournament goes on or goes down, and Duke and UConn are in it, but one of them loses. If Duke loses, is it fair for me to jump on the Husky train, or is it kind of like get your ass out of here?
Absolutely, I would root for Duke for you. Even
No,
though I don't really like
that
it. I would,
you. Why you
I
gotta
would root
lie?
for Duke.
Who did you root for last year in the Final Four?
I don't know
North
who they were.
Carolina or Duke?
North Carolina, the born and raised up. Take your shirt off. Okay.
Point
I,
exactly.
I don't really care. You do what you got to do. There's
But
such
is
a
it wrong? Is it wrong?
listen. The whole tournament is great. The Thursday night games were kind of like, but all Friday games were great.
Yeah.
All the games from daytime, St. Patrick's Day, and that's what's also too because it's St. Patrick's Day this past weekend. So
Is it good to have parity like this? Like
Yes,
where you
absolutely,
having the Blue
because-
Bloods go down,
Yes,
and you're
but
having
here-
teams
here-
like this,
Yeah,
like
but
Princeton or Fairleigh
okay,
Dickinson.
so what? Oh, we talk about the Blue Bloods. So what? Duke was in the Final Four last year.
Oh, I know.
Kentucky has been there. It's not like they've been bad for 5-7 years.
No, but is it great for like fans that are
great for
fans of
everyone.
college basketball?
Listen, it's great for everyone. What was you sent me a stat last night? What was it? 11 or 13 of the 16 teams are from. Okay, there's 16 teams right now left. I believe 11 of them were from different states. You have all regions covered from Gonzaga,
all over the country.
from Gonzaga to UCLA to
All the way to UConn.
Princeton to the Midwest with Michigan State. So you still got the Fighting Izzos. You got, have Texas, who's been dominant. You have Houston, so Alabama. So you got Miami. I mean, it's almost kind of like football. That's what makes this tournament so thrilling because every game you have no idea. We know in college football next year, pretty much put Alabama, pretty much put Georgia, put Ohio State or Michigan, and then somebody else from Clemson, USC that's going to be in the final. And there's your Final Four next year for college football. I don't need to watch the whole season next year to know who's going to be in the tournament next year. You pretty much know the three teams.
Yeah.
At least two. And then the other two is usually
Georgia and then either Ohio State, Michigan.
Either Clemson, USC. I mean, once in a while you get a TCU. Once in a while maybe you get a Baylor who gets super hot or Michigan State or something. But that doesn't happen that often.
I'm not going to lie. I'm pissed off that Duke lost because this was an opportunity for them.
Yeah.
This was a golden opportunity. They're the hottest team in college basketball. I'm very pissed. Great.
Listen, UConn's
credit
great.
hats off to Tennessee defense.
UConn's look great. That's
Matsunogo has been the best player in this tournament. Say otherwise. Prove me wrong of finding somebody else that's been better than that big man right now. He's literally carrying the Huskies because Dawkins has been struggling the first half, but he's got such a pure shot. Like his shot is so freaking sweet, man. Yes, it can definitely transition into the NBA smoothly. I mean, I'm impressed with UConn. I can't wait to see the Sweet 16.
They are deep.
Yeah.
They can match up pretty much with anyone in the tournament, whoever's left. Texas has looked really good, but a lot of that also has to do, and I know we're not going to really get into it, but one and dones and senior laden teams. Texas has like 5 seniors on their team. Gonzaga, Drew Timmy's like a 12th-year senior. They got.
That's what I think.
At like Princeton veteran teams, Michigan State veteran teams.
Colin said it.
Kansas State.
Hold on. The NIDs, I think, will be better off for college basketball than they will be for college football. Not even the NIL deals. Also, the transfer portal. That's what he was saying. The transfer portal will probably will work better off for college basketball than it will for college football. I feel like in college football, you get a lot of the players that go to the big schools. Like in college basketball, I feel like there's so many schools, and with the way the tournament's been recently, where you have a Princeton, where you have a Fairleigh Dickinson, a UMBC, a St. Peter's last year, for 3 straight years, the 15 seed has gotten into the Sweet 16. What does that tell you?
Hey, both from New Jersey.
What does that tell you?
Listen, and they've looked great. Arizona played like crap. All right,
I think we should stop picking up these teams, these brands, these names.
But Princeton looked good, and then they dominated Missouri. Yeah, I mean Arkansas. People knock on Arkansas, and they're an 8 seed, but they have 3 guys that are NBA talented players, and they were
2 elite 8s.
If I'm not mistaken, this team was in the Elite 8 last year, right?
Correct.
Or right around
2 straight years.
Now, the last time UConn was in the Sweet 16, they won the national championship. That was
boy, here we go
with Shabazz. But you look at this weekend, you got a lot of great games. Miami, a veteran team, that should be a really good game this weekend against Houston. And then I think the Kansas State game against Michigan State, 2 point guards from New York City going at each other at Madison Square Garden.
Norwell, man, boy, he was lighting it up the other day. I can't wait.
Do you remember the kid that had passed out for Florida a couple years ago? He had like a heart attack on the day? He's on Kansas State.
Oh, really?
That's number 11.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the kid that almost died on the court from Florida 2 years ago
Jesus.
went to the hospital. He had a $5 million insurance policy he could have took out if he never played basketball again. He never took it out. He transferred last year, and now he's on Kansas State. He's number 11.
Oh,
So
I did not know that.
yes. So, I mean, you got a lot of great storylines. The Sweet 16 is going to be really thrilling. And now you start getting to the best of the best. And it's funny because as much as we talk about all these upsets, and I believe there was 10 upsets this weekend, more than we've seen in the last
It was fantastic.
more than we've seen in the past 2 seasons. When we start getting to the nitty-gritty, you're going to look at the lead eight in the Final Four. You're going to be like, oh, it's going to be like a UConn. It's going to be a Houston or Texas. It's going to be Alabama.
It's going to all shape up just the way
and then all the 4 teams are all going to be within the top teams of the conference. You know what I mean? Where Alabama will probably be the 1 seed coming out. I feel like Alabama's coming out of that.
I would agree with you.
That bracket.
Yeah.
For me personally, I think Miami got a realistic shot beating Houston this weekend. But for
Houston
me,
doesn't look impressive.
Texas or Houston, I think 1 or 2 seed, and I would have knocked Miami even as a 5 seed because they were
I'll give you my quick Final Four right now.
Listen, I'll put this one. I still have 3 of my 4 Final Four teams in there.
Yeah, Ted. So do I.
Yeah, but Duke screwed me.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Miss Slippy.
Just want to let you know.
It's so
I had
damn
UConn beating Duke,
it's so damn depressing. Dude, I really thought this was gonna. I really thought this was a very depressing end to the. Whatever. I'll do it quickly. I'll have Alabama taking on the Fighting Izzos. Shocking. The 7 seed of Michigan State coming out of that bracket. You got a 7 versus 3, and you got the 4 versus 9 seed in that bracket. Who would have thought that? And then you got I had Texas coming out of the bracket, the Houston bracket, and then I got UConn beating Gonzaga. So there's my Final Four. Whatever happens, happens. I cannot wait for this Sweet 16.
UCLA and Gonzaga rematch. Last time these 2 teams played was in the Final Four, and Suggs hit the buzzer beater.
The COVID year. That was the year they didn't have no fans. They played with no fans. They had little fans.
Talk about blue bloods. Like Gonzaga, 8 straight years of Sweet 16.
Yeah, how many titles?
Doesn't matter.
It does for a program. Hold on. I can't believe you just said that. It doesn't matter for a program that's been to 8 straight Sweet 16s and a program that has been dominant. One of the better programs in all of those numbers. Okay, but all of college basketball. What does it account for?
Nothing.
Thank you.
But I bet their record their record is better than Duke's.
I'm not saying it isn't. When you play Pepperdine and Loyal,
we're talking about the tournament. I don't care about the regular season.
And what do they do? Okay,
what did they lose? They lost in the national championship. They lost in the Final Four.
Okay.
Were they like the Final Four like 3 years in a row?
Oh, come on. Don't give them
Duke can't say that they've been – no team could say they've been to 8 straight Sweet 16.
Oh, I get that. But guess what?
Especially now where Duke loses in the first round every other year.
All right.
Well, that's
UConn gets into the UConn gets in the tournament. We got all you Husky fans dreaming big right now, thinking you're winning the title. They've been impressive, but we got to see how they play because that bracket, boy, that's a fun ass bracket to watch. UConn against Arkansas. Don't sleep on the Razorbacks, and then you got Gonzaga against UCLA. That should be a classic, like it's been the previous 2 times. If for anybody that doesn't remember, they had a classic in 2005 where Adam Morrison and Gonzaga had a huge lead, blew it against UCLA. UCLA eventually went to the national championship that year with Aaron Aflalo. Remember? Luka Abamute. Hey, Ted, can you say that today? There's your word today. Luka Abamute.
Who?
Remember Luka Abamute?
UCLA?
Yeah. There's your word today. You have to say this now.
I'm not trying to say nothing right now.
It's not that hard.
Yeah. Okay. Enjoy yourself.
Luka Amabute.
Yeah, sounds good. Very good.
Well, we're going to start doing something new. Ted has, from now on, Ted, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to come up with a word, a player's name, and you're going to have to say it. You're going to have to say it properly.
So I have 3 of my 4 Final Four teams left right now. I'm looking at my bracket.
Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. Say it, Ted.
Yeah, now you got to change it because someone.
I know. Okay, but say it. Let's hear you say it now.
I'm not doing it right now. We're talking.
He still can't say it. He gets it right once and he can't say it.
What, Jackson Smith and then Jigba?
He still can't say it. Anyway,
I was looking. I'll tell you. If you look at the Big East. I mean, Marquette. That was a bad loss. Marquette played awful against Michigan State.
Good for Michigan State.
Good for them. Absolutely, they took it to them. But Creighton's been real dominant. watch Creighton as a sleeper going into the Final Four.
Well, they play Princeton. They could be Princeton. I mean, Princeton's playing very impressive. I mean, all these teams are deservingly so in there for a reason.
And then you have two contrasting styles with that. And I'm just talking that bracket for a second. San Diego State, who is slow, methodical, but they play great defense against an Alabama team that wants to run and gun up and down.
Can you imagine if Bama won in college basketball too? Oh my God, people in the country would lose their minds if Alabama.
Well, they didn't win in football.
Well, you know that. Well, football doesn't need anything to be discussed because they just are always in the running, no matter what. It doesn't matter if they don't win or not; they're always in the running till the end. I'm so glad I brought up Jackson Smith and Jigba for Ted because I want to quickly get into. Right. Yeah, I just said it right. Now you say it.
Next.
He really won't say it. Well, you're going to have to start realizing that in the next coming weeks, I'm going to be saying a person's name, and you're going to have to properly say the name. And you cannot say next or no. No, we're not talking CJ Stroud. That's a basic name. That's kindergarten level for you, Ted.
Listen,
we got to get you to like Ted. If we could get you to third grade level, I'm happy.
Listen, if someone could say the guy's name from Northwestern, the DN, then we can talk.
Why don't we go look it up?
I'm not even going to try to start.
That's impressive.
Can't even pronounce his first name. Might as well get to his second name.
That's an impressive name to definitely pronounce. NFL draft time too. Let's get into it quick.
Yeah,
I know this year I find this year to be fascinating. No, it's not. I get it. There isn't a Trevor Lawrence. There isn't a major superstar in this draft class. The reason why I find it so fascinating, Ted, is Carolina. Where is Carolina going with this pick? We've heard the rule.
I know exactly where they're going, bro.
Oh, I know they're going to go quarterback, but just legitimately we can have. That's why I think the NFL draft, when it comes to situations like this, I far am more in tune with how this draft is going to play out for the next month than it is for a year like when Trevor Lawrence came out. Because we all knew a guy like Trevor Lawrence was going to be the number one pick. It was just inevitable. This year, it's like, okay, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, Bryce Young. It's all quarterbacks. This is a quarterback-driven league. So where's Carolina go with this pick? Like, that's the thing to me. If you want the Cam 2.0 and you want but you're not starting I know, but just let me get through it. Anthony Richardson, the wow guy. If you want the guy like Josh Allen, the strong arm, then Will Levis is your guy. If you want the accurate, precise decision-making, then it's CJ Stroud. If you want the playmaking ability with the accuracy as well, then you go Bryce Young. So Carolina, making is all for you. When you look at these four quarterbacks, it's so fascinating because realistically, I know that people want to say mock drafts and all this, and we don't know what's going to happen with mock drafts, the projections and who's more likely to get it. Realistically, all four of these guys are in the running because they're looking for a quarterback.
I would take three.
I think all four. If you're a team that desperately needs a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, then all four should be in the play.
I'm saying for the number one pick. I would relate Anthony Richardson more to Josh Allen. Strong, athletic.
I would say Will Levis.
Will Levis would remind me of Jay Cutler. Strong arm.
Levis is more athletic.
He's athletic.
I'm not saying.
Josh Allen is much more athletic. Jay Cutler used to be able to move at Vanderbilt, and when he first came in the league for Denver, and could throw cannons. Yeah. Here's what I do wonder. The Andy Dalton thing. Is he brought there just to mentor?
Like the Justin Fields situation?
To mentor a quarterback? Or is he there to start the season, you draft Anthony Richardson, and then like week 6 or 7 when you suck, and now you can let Anthony Richardson finish out the second half of the season, and then that's kind of his growing pains going into year 2. Because I think that, as we know, the highest upside is Anthony Richardson. But just based on mere talent.
Yeah.
Nothing else said. The two guys that you want to start right now are Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Those are guys you put in right now. You start day one.
Would you realistically start any of these guys?
Yes.
Okay.
The two guys I just said.
Oh, I'm just asking.
Bryce Young. They played at the top of the tier of talent in college football, and they've been 1 and 2 in the Heisman the last 2 years. They've been the two best players the last 2 years. I know Caleb Williams won the Heisman this year, but listen, Bryce Young was no slouch. The only thing I was and I would love to ask Kuiper this, or McShay does. Would you question CJ Stroud's skill level because his receivers were, I don't know, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and Beckway. Oh, and Marvin Harrison Jr., who's probably.
Oh, wait, there was another guy. Who was the other receiver?
Oh, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
No, it's in Jigba.
I said in Jigba.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Those are five.
Well, what about Alabama? Didn't have nothing?
Last year they did. This year the receiver core was not even at the level.
He still got one of the top lines in football. He still got a dominant
Alabama's
backfield.
line was not that good this year. Bryce Young took a beating this year. Watch the games. Watch the game against Texas.
I'm just saying their talent is better than anyone else in the country.
But look at the receivers that C.J. Stroud is throwing to. Oh, and he's also going to have 2 linemen drafted in the first 2 rounds, maybe 3.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about C.J. Stroud. So, and that type of offense. So, listen, I would start those 2 guys either one. And I think you and me are both in the favor as I would start C.J. Stroud at 1 in Carolina. And
like if you're a team like Houston, that I don't believe they're going to start off with Davis Mills, and they didn't go after Jimmy G. So, is it the smart thing to do? Like if they take Bryce Young, is he? Yes. I mean, are you taking a chance with that?
It's not. I'm taking a chance. He is.
I mean, knowing how the size, the height.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
The only thing I worry about is can he make 10 years? He's good enough to play. It's not about.
That's a big freaking deal. That's a big freaking question to ask yourself. Is he good enough to stay around for 10 years?
Guess what? You'll take 7, 8 years nowadays.
What's the ultimate goal in the NFL?
Get to a Super Bowl and win.
Exactly.
What if your skill level? He's good enough. Now it's up to the Texans to surround him with talent like any of these other young quarterbacks in the league. Sorry, don't be the New York Giants and draft Daniel Jones and have no one to throw to, or a Mac Jones in New England, and he's throwing to Joe Schmoes. Go be the Bengals. Go be the Chargers. Go be the Arizona Cardinals and try to put as many receivers and guys that have skill around him. Bring in the Zach Ertz, Rondale Moore, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk before he was traded to Jacksonville. Or do what Jacksonville's doing. I don't know. Get Calvin Ridley for a 6th round. Free agency, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, DJ. I mean, they put talent around these guys. And then surround them with some good offensive linemen. But I think you look at it, C.J. Stroud probably should go 1. But if they go Bryce Young, there's no disappointment. I wouldn't be shocked.
Let me ask you this. Who do you realistically, when you look at all 4 of them, who do you think is the best quarterback in this draft?
I don't know if there's no best.
If you had to pick one, I know there's no, but like really, because one of them is going to go 1, and the dominoes will fall.
I think when you schematically, you have to look at your team and go, what am I running for an offense? Am I running a running gun? Am I running a West Coast? Am I going to be a run-based offense with a play action pass? What type
Carolina
of
just got Miles Sanders and Hayden Hurst plus Adam Thielen as well, so they added some pieces.
Listen, up until the Georgia game, I thought Bryce Young was the best quarterback. Now, I think Caleb Williams is that guy. He's just a bigger quarterback.
You love Caleb.
I love Caleb. It's smooth delivery, moxie. He makes plays.
He's immature.
No,
if he struggles and something goes wrong, he bitches and moans like I saw with Kyler Murray. Very similar. I'm just saying the talent is there. Skill-wise, he's incredible. But half the battle as a quarterback is being
we'll find out next year.
Being a leader.
We'll find out next year. But he also played in the Pac-12 championship game with like a torn hamstring the whole second half. And
I get it. I get the toughness. I understand.
But
I've also seen him have meltdowns on the sidelines.
That shows me a lot right there.
Of course, but I've also seen meltdowns on the sidelines for him. So that's something. If
it happens,
look,
bro.
you're gonna be
down.
I
Tom
get it.
Brady melted down.
I get it. I get it. They all have had, but those are different. When you're going to be the number 1 pick possibly next year, you're supposed to be. You're investing. But I said this.
That could be taken the wrong way. You're looking at it one way. Are you there? Are you on the sidelines? That could be a sense of passion and pissed off. Like, what the hell are we doing? Why can't? What am I doing? Why did I throw that ball there? Maybe it's a passion or something that he's disappointed himself because he held himself at a higher standard.
When he's yelling at the coach.
He's angry. Maybe the play wasn't called in. Maybe he didn't like the play call. It's okay. Well, listen, great coaches, great players have that thing. Kobe Bryant, Phil Jackson, Jordan and Phil. I mean, you don't think Larry Bird and guys like that, you don't think great coaches and players.
I'm just saying, I get it.
When you want to be the best, you don't see the 6th man on the team doing that. You don't think great. I mean, McDaniels and Brady. Some quarterbacks don't have that. I'd rather have that fire. but can you control it? Can it drive you when the game time comes?
I mean, I
This
know how
draft is
good
very
he's
interesting because there is no superstars in this draft.
but it's
That's right
fascinating
now.
because of the quarterback position right
Of
now,
course,
because you
before.
don't the uncertainty surrounded. I mean, realistically, this top 5, you don't know how it's going to play out. Yeah, it's going to be. You're probably going to have maybe all 4 quarterbacks go in the top 5, but where? I know, I get it. Oh well, there's not a lot of uncertainty. It's going to be quarterbacks. Okay. What if Anthony Richardson goes 1? What if Bryce Young falls to 4 or something? Did we see that happening? The one team that is, I mean, if Arizona stays put, I mean, they're going to take a defensive player, and to me, it should be Will Anderson because they just lost J.J. Watt,
Or do they
and
take a
Zach.
guy like Christian Gonzalez because they just lost Byron Murphy? They have
I
maybe
get
some
that. So
secondary.
they definitely need defense.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this quarterback class, I know there's no like Andrew Luck. I know Trevor Lawrence. I get it. But it's fascinating to know that I hope that coming up to April 27th, that we don't know who the Carolina Panthers are going to take. I hope it's almost like a San Francisco 49ers where they're telling you one thing and then on draft night it's a complete shock and everybody's like, "Oh, okay." That's what I'm hoping for the next month. I don't want to know what's going to happen. I know the names we've been hearing is Stroud, Bryce Young. I don't see if Bryce Young's a fit in Carolina. I don't know why. I think he's more fit in Houston. Don't ask me why. I just see like it's more. I think CJ Stroud will be better off in Carolina. Richardson, I think he needs to go to a team that already has a proven quarterback and he could sit for a year. And I think that's Seattle if possible.
Seattle or the Raiders.
And Levis is the same thing.
Or the Raiders.
Yeah, I think Levis is the same.
Behind Jimmy G, learn how it's to be a good pro, just like Jimmy G sat behind Brady. Sit there for 2 years, learn, get better, work on your craft, work on your skill, be coached by a really good offensive coordinator and Josh McDaniels. Might not be a great head coach, but he's a really good offensive-minded coach. And then when your time is called, and listen, Jimmy G gets hurt a lot. You never know when your number gets called. So, and like you said, you don't know. Here's the other question: what happens with Lamar?
I literally was just about to bring that up to you. It's like what that's the biggest dominant. I think once the Rodgers thing moved on and once it became like official, until we actually see when it becomes official. I get it. When it actually becomes official, this whole offseason has been where's Lamar and where's Rodgers going? It looks like we got one of them down. What's the other half going to be like? Because where is this man going? I told you the marriage is over between him and Baltimore. There's no way it's going back. There's just no way.
I don't see a team right now going for him.
I think it's the Colts. I think the Colts are the dark horse, and I know we talked about it last week on the show with
Tennessee too.
Tennessee, but Tennessee's Tennessee would make no. Here's my thing about Tennessee: they make no sense. You're trying to get rid of everybody. You just got rid of Taylor Lewan. You're trying to trade Derrick Henry, Kelvin Byard.
New GM, Lamar and Derrick Henry.
Who's your receivers?
Who needs receivers when you got Lamar and Derrick Henry?
That's been the biggest debate of if Lamar's a legit. I think he's a great quarterback, but there's people in the football world that don't see him as a franchise-altering player. I think they're wrong, but you got to give him one.
I saw something else on Twitter, something about Tennessee because they were clearing cap space, they were making moves. So are they? Because here's the thing: Tannehill's still there. So if they make a move on Tannehill, cut him, trade him, then I think if you see something like that, that's an all-in move for Lamar. That's how I look at it from the outside, not knowing any inside coverage.
Well, he's either going to have to get traded in the next month to one of these teams, either if it's the Titans or the Colts, or we're going to be going through the summer days of wondering if Lamar Jackson is going to be playing for Baltimore or where the hell is he going to play then? Because once the draft is over, I think that just clears the air of all these teams, that quarterback needed teams, I should say. Does Atlanta somehow come back in the I don't want
the first rounds next year. You want if you're a Baltimore, you want the first rounds now.
So take this one, take this one, and then take next year's.
Yeah.
And then they might have to add more pieces to it. I mean, if you're a team that needs a quarterback and you feel like you're right there, but you need that quarterback, you go make the move, Ted. You go make the move. I mean, he's I think he's a franchise
You
alternate.
Baltimore, you trade with Atlanta, you give Lamar, you get Atlanta's 2 first-round picks and something else. Then you go from
I think he's a
8
franchise
Then you
alternate
go
player,
from
man.
8-3 with Arizona. You trade your 2 first rounds you just picked up from Atlanta, plus a thing, and you draft Anthony Richardson. And you shouldn't be on Tyler Huntley or something. And you let
Get it
him
right. It's the Pro Bowler, Tyler Huntley.
two touchdowns.
Before we close out, what do you expect from tonight's game?
Oh, WBC. Listen,
I just wanted to bring it up quickly.
Yeah, I know. I meant to talk about it a little bit more. No, I'm excited.
No, I didn't really want.
I mean, listen. Either way, I'm excited for it because if you watch the last 4 or 5 baseball games, the Venezuela USA game was awesome. Now the Cuba game I thought was going to be good, but USA just
smoked them out of the parks.
Japan Mexico last night was a classic down to the end.
Then you had Dominican versus Puerto Rico last week, which was another barn burner. I mean, poor Met fans, close your ears, Met fans. Edwin Diaz.
I don't have a problem with it. Even Lindor said I wouldn't change a thing. Guys,
I wouldn't change it either. Dude, the guy was celebrating. Is that the WBC's fault?
No, it's no one's fault. It's not even his fault.
Dumb fans that are like, oh, they should cancel the WBC. Why? Because when your players got hurt?
I mean, think about it. Imagine if Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani were on the same team and they could make the playoffs. Oh, wait, they are on the same team.
Oh, yeah.
It's a joke, but you're talking about 2 of the best baseball players tonight leading their team.
There's only one best player in the world right now, and it's not Mike Trout or Shohei Ohtani. No. It's Mr. Trey Turner.
Dude, have you seen Ohtani's numbers?
Trey Turner has been – he's bad. He's the 9th hitter. I love it.
Did you see Ohtani's numbers, bro?
I get it. Ohtani's –
And pitching?
I get it. Ohtani's been
but
Trey Turner's carrying this team. Trey Turner's not even the best hitter on this team.
The other kid, I can't even pronounce his name. He's got like 13 RBIs in this year. The WBC.
I mean, I hope the USA obviously wins.
The Red Sox signed him. He's one of the guys that Red Sox signed.
I hope obviously USA wins. It's been a fantastic tournament. I know a lot of people are probably not in tune with it because it's baseball, but
they'll be in tune tonight because it's Tuesday night. There's nothing else to watch.
7:00 game.
7:00 game. FS1. USA versus Japan. You're talking about a shit ton of talent out there. USA, Japan, Ohtani. And it sets up perfectly because in like 10 days, we're going to be playing professional baseball in the start of opening day.
That is true. The MLB will be officially underway in a week.
Sorry to cut you off. Can you imagine, though, if we were about to play the San Francisco Giants next week and Judge was on the Giants?
It was a possibility, brother. It was a possibility. There was a real outcome that Aaron Judge could have been on the San Francisco Giants coming to Yankee Stadium opening day. But that's not happened. That's not the case. Got a lot going on. Like I said, a Sweet 16, Elite 8 this weekend. We will definitely keep an eye on the Lamar Jackson news. I feel like right now the NFL is kind of just slowed down. I feel like it's free agency. It's like free agency is more just like now you got your second and third tier players that are. We're waiting for Lamar. We're waiting for the Lamar deal.
That and, it's all about the pro days now.
Well, you got the 2 pro days. You got C.J. Stroud tomorrow. I believe Bryce Young's on Thursday. And Will Levis is Friday. Levis is Friday, and then Richardson's like April 14th. And then we got guys like Cam Newton saying I'm 32 a quarter. Yeah, Cam, shut up. There's a reason why you're on the bench and you're not playing. Nobody thinks you're a good enough quarterback anymore. This ain't 2015. Take a hike.
There isn't 32 quarterbacks better than him, though. I'm not going to get into it right now.
There are 32 quarterbacks better than him.
No, they're not.
I wouldn't take him. He's not accurate. He's not. I'm sorry. Congratulations. He's athletic. Quarterbacks now are just going left and right.
He's good enough to be on an NFL roster.
Okay, he's a backup then.
Okay.
That's it. He's not a starter.
Okay,
that's where he thinks he is.
Desmond Ridder is better than him. Andy Dalton's better than him. Andy Dalton.
All the rookie quarterbacks will be better than him.
We'll see.
Just saying. Well, we'll probably be back next week because Ted is taking a little hiatus.
We might do something downtown.
We always say that, but it's not going to happen. I'm just letting the people. But like I said, we'll be back either next week or if anything major happens within the next coming days. But T3 is coming down to Florida. That's the big news. Big news, ladies and gentlemen.
See you in 48 hours.
The Keys brothers. Yeah, 48 hours from now, we'll be by the pool, chilling. Gotta love it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Keys of the City. We'll see you next episode. We are out.
Keys to the City podcast.